What's up, headbangers? Welcome to another episode of the Talk Louder podcast, where we geek out on all things rock and roll. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Leave us your likes and comments. You can also leave likes and comments on our Facebook page. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Instagram at talklouder_podcast. And of course, our website, talklouderpodcast.com, where you'll find links to all of our previous episodes and our merch. I'm Metal Dave Glessner, along with my co-host, Jason McMaster. And today we've got a special guest that Jason got to know pretty well last year when you stepped in for him for a couple shows. We've got Mark Tornillo from Accept, lead vocalist for Accept, also formerly of TT Quick, which we get into. Some interesting stories related to his days in TT Quick in the early 80s. Mark has been with Accept for nearly 15 years now, has put out 5 studio albums. The latest was Too Mean to Die, which was very well received. They've been touring the heck out of it, recently came home. We caught them during a break while they are currently writing material for the next album. So staying busy and staying healthy, which is great. So we were happy to have him.
He's fit, and he's been doing it longer than most of our listeners have been alive.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, not to, I didn't put any numbers on that.
Right.
He is featured in this volume 1. I'm sure he'll be in all 3 volumes of Jersey Metal, the history of the Garden State's heavy metal scene. I'm holding up volume 1 here.
Great book.
Which is from 69 to 86. We had Alan Tecchio, who took my place in Watchtower for a while. He sings on the second record, Control and Resistance. He's my friend. Him and Frank White, who is a Jersey photographer, writer, and all-around badass. These guys, check out this book, Jersey Metal. Mark Tornillo is in this. He's all over it because he's such a staple and legendary frontman from TT Quick. He tells us some old school stories about L'Amours and just things that went on back then, and how it's just a crazy, it's not a big state.
No.
And there's a zillion bands that you are in your record collection that are from this tiny state.
Right.
And so, he's a big deal. He's a big fish in a little pond. The coolest thing about Mark's story is probably it could even predate TT Quick. Maybe not, but it could. He's covered Accept songs.
Oh yeah.
Now he's in Accept. And
right.
That's kind of like, what? He's played with, it's interesting how I asked him a question about, shows he was doing in 82 and 83. And that's around the time that Metallica was getting in bed with Johnny Z at Megaforce Records. Well, TT Quick was already hanging out with Johnny Z, and Eddie Trunk was doing radio, and college kid running around Jersey doing radio all over the place. And TT Quick was writing, playing shows with Twisted Sister, and they were headlining the same venues and packing them. Yeah, you get a little bit of the gist about what you're in for today when we talk about that. We also talk about some stories that he actually shared with me face to face when we were on. Feels weird to say it, on tour together on the East Coast, when I was out there helping him out when he was recovering from his upper respiratory issue that caused him to have some vocal issues.
Right.
It was a dream come true for me. It was an awesome introduction to get to meet Mark, as well as Accept, some of my teenage heroes. And we talk a little bit about that. And he's just the salt of the earth. He's a real dude. Here's the cool thing about Mark. He's so smart, never quit his day job. Singer for Accept. I mean, bona fide fucking rock star. Okay. That sounds like a derogatory remark. No, he can wear that hat because he kept his day job.
What is his day job? I
don't know if he would want to divulge, but
okay,
I don't think that he's so real. I don't think he really gives a shit. He's like kind of got an important job. He's like a foreman,
Okay.
like a contract foreman, like buildings and shit.
Oh, all right.
And I think he's done that like for years.
Wow.
And I think it's really cool. He probably works with heavy metal and shit. You know what I mean? He wears a hard hat and shit. So, it's kind of his job is metal.
Yeah.
Whether he's got a microphone in his hand or a clipboard yelling at some dudes on a radio.
Right.
Basically, he turns his microphone. Well, a walkie-talkie is also a microphone.
True.
He deals in metal.
Can you imagine him barking orders at you?
Yeah. I've stood next to him on stage and heard him bark. It's a fucking fine bark he's got.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his story. I don't know if people realize, he's done 5 albums with Accept. He's been with them nearly 15 years. One of the things people may not realize is he's also the chief lyricist now. He writes all the lyrics, and that wasn't always the case in Accept in years past. You might be surprised to find out that Wolf Hoffman's wife was one of the primary lyricists in days past, and some of the songs that you've been singing since you were a teenager were written by Gabby Hoffman.
That's right. Also the manager of the band.
Yeah. And so Mark not only got the gig as the singer and did a great job on the mic, but he's also the primary lyricist now. And we learn a little bit about the process, about how the songs come together. Sometimes they start with a riff, and sometimes they start with the lyrics, and Wolf builds a riff around the lyrics. I'm sure that's, every band has their chemistry, and that's probably not entirely unique, but he did tell a great story about one song in particular that basically started as a poem, and then all of a sudden it's on the last Accept album.
Yeah, so you're texting back and forth with your manager, and next thing you know, you and your manager have come up with a new song lyric. It's pretty cool. But those accidents happen all the time, as you well know, Dave. You've said something on the fly, and I went, "Wait, what did you say?" And I wrote it down. Next day, it's a fucking song.
Yeah.
So everyone has the process, and that process can be very similar worldwide when you put together a tune.
Yeah.
So there's something else that Mark, as he rode off into the sunset today, he mentioned not only this. We were still talking about Jersey Metal, the book. And he did mention that it's coming out on Amazon Prime, a limited series documentary about music in New Jersey. Now, I don't recall. Do you recall what he called it? What the name of it is?
I don't know if I heard.
It's not Jersey Metal. That, don't be confused. That's the name of the books that Alan Tecchio and Frank White have put out.
Right.
So the Jersey music scene, and so what I'm getting at, you're going to hear Mark's name, Mark Tornillo, the current singer of Accept. You're going to hear his name and his history more and more if you watch music documentaries on Amazon, which I do as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he brought that up. And he said he did the interview like a year or two ago. So
years ago. It's
probably going to happen sooner than later. So everyone keep their heavy metal ear to the grindstone for that. So
yeah, absolutely. Mark Tornillo on today's Talk Louder podcast.
Hi-dee, hi-do, hi-da. Hi-dee, hi-do, hi-da. Hi-dee, hi-do, hi-da. Ha, 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 ha.
How are you, man?
Doing well.
Thanks for joining us.
Dave, Mark.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, I'm quite relaxed, actually. Just came back from vacation, so.
I'll start.
Nice.
Hey, so don't take this with a respectful compliment when I say that correct me if I'm wrong, maybe in your area, where you're from, where your world, where you call home, you talk to scenesters, people who've been around in your area, and and you mention by name, people say your name to these people who've been around a long time in the rock scene, whether they're record store owners, club owners, other songwriters, other bands. You mention your name and they're like, fucking legend. They say that. They say that. What? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
that's just showing my age, bro.
Well, by definition, legend, they mean you came, you kicked ass, and you were younger, and here you are still kicking ass. I didn't even put a date on it.
I just figure legend status comes with age, but well,
I
don't know, man. Just been doing it, been at it for so long. I guess eventually you earn respect for no other reason, longevity. So.
Yeah, if you survive long enough, eventually Well, you've been around for a while, as you said, and I do want to talk about TT Quick, but you've been with Accept for 14 years now, 15 years.
Going that way, right?
Yeah, and 5 studio albums, and all critically acclaimed. And you were, you stepped into some impossible shoes and knocked it out of the park. So what I understand is there was no really any big audition process. The way I've heard it described, I think even you have described it in interviews, as kind of just a happy accident. So tell us how you got the gig.
Either happy accident, or just fate. I don't know which. All I know is out of nowhere, my phone rang one day. And it was actually a friend of mine, and asked me if he could give Peter my number.
Right.
Asked me, if it was okay to give Peter Baltus my number. And I'm like, what the hell does he want with me? I had no idea. And I thought they were in Germany as far as I knew. So it turned out Peter lived 40 minutes away from me. But they were recording, actually, he was producing his son's album for his son's band. And they had just gone through the ringer with Udo about trying to get the band back together because the Wrestler movie had come out, and Balls was the big featured song. It was played twice in the movie, So I guess they figured if we're ever going to do it, now would be a good time. And they just could not come to terms. And Wolf was pretty disgruntled about the whole thing. And he and Gabby got into an argument. And she goes, listen, why don't you go to Peter's and blow off some steam? At least this is the way I heard it from her.
Okay.
So he did.
Gabby being Wolf's wife.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the band's manager at the time.
Right.
So he did. Came up here, and he just happened to be in the studio with Peter that day with his son Sebastian's band. And they were bitching about the whole situation. And the owner of the studio, Joey DeMeo, who's an old friend, just says, hey, and not Manowar Joey DeMeo. There's I only know 3 people named Joey DeMeo. It's crazy.
I did not realize how common of a name that is.
I didn't either. Right. I thought he meant Manowar guy.
Yeah. And he just goes, why don't you call Mark? And he's like, Mark? Who's Mark? So he's a singer from TT Quick. And they were like, TT Quick. And we had opened for them back in the day at Lemoore. Also, Michael Wagner worked with us while he was working with them, and they had heard our name from him. So I guess it rung a bell, and they were like, can you get him on the phone? Can we get him here? And that's how the whole process started, little by little. And I did call Peter back, or Peter called me rather, and asked me if I wanted to come jam with him and Wolf at the studio, and a drummer who turned out to be a friend of mine. And so I went. I was sick as a dog. I had bronchitis. I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm going anyway. So went down there, and I was really not on point, I thought, but apparently I was good enough to get their attention. So we did jam. We had a nice day, actually. You know, we jammed some old stuff. We jammed some AC/DC and stuff like that, and old Accept songs that I knew, because TT Quick had covered them back in the day. So we had done "Son of a Bitch" and "Restless" and "Flash Rockin' Man" and "Fast as a Shark," and so I knew all these songs.
Right.
And we actually wrote "Life's a Bitch" that day. It was the first, as strange as it sounds, it never came out until we recorded it finally for Blind Rage, and it still didn't come out on that album. But it was a good day. And I thought nothing of it, really. I didn't think anything was going to come of it. 2 weeks later, I got another phone call. What would you think about doing a record and a tour? And I'm like, whoa, all right. Well, let me run that by the wife first. Let me see what she thinks about that before I go saying yes.
Yeah.
And she said, well, if you don't do it, there'll be no living with you, will there? You make a good point, woman.
Yeah.
So, go have fun. Okay. So, and that's really was the beginning of it right there. So,
yeah. Now, your first album, 2010, Blood of the Nations. A lot of people, I want to know from your perspective, like when you went in the studio and recorded with Accept this is your first time doing a record with them. The expectations are either very high or very low. Yep. And when you got done recording that record, were you confident that you knocked it out of the park, or was it not until later where you got the validation of the positive reviews and the fans started to embrace you? How did you feel immediately after recording it?
When we were done, like totally done, and it was, it was already mixed and being mastered, and I knew we had something big. I knew we had something good.
Okay.
But did not start that way at all, because when we first, before Andy got involved, we had started writing, the three of us, and we were recording some stuff. And once Andy somehow weaseled his way in, is what he did, because he wanted to be the producer on the album.
Andy Sneap,
man, he went through every channel possible to get to Wolf. And when
that was is that an Ed Aborn? That's an Ed Aborn connection.
Ed Aborn was told Wolf about, and he's like, Andy Sneap, who's Andy Sneap? I don't know this person. How does he? Goes, well, he knows you, and you have met. And he was like, when did we meet? I don't know, but they hit it off well. And it's funny, Andy came to Nashville when Wolf was living still in Nashville. He actually still is. He's all over the place now, but in the original house that they had down there. And he listened to the stuff. And he goes, no, this is all wrong. This is totally all wrong. Let's go back. And he took them and made them listen to all the 80s albums from like Breaker through Metal Heart.
Right.
And you listen to each one of these records, and they sat down. I was not there. They sat down and dissected what made them who they were in the 80s and where they wanted to go now, and what you needed as far as riffs and hooks. And it worked, because the writing totally changed. Yeah. And then I had to pass Andy's audition, which was even better. When we actually started recording, I think the first song that we recorded that was finished that I did vocals on was The Abyss. And we were actually recording at the basement in Wolf's house. And Andy had told Gabby, says, well, we're going to find out today whether he can cut the mustard or not, because I'm not just going to work with any singer, and blah, blah, blah,
Wow.
Yeah. And so.
Wow.
So that was my first foray into that. I sang The Abyss, did all the I did the overdubs, did the doubles, anything that had to be done. All I heard was that Gabby said Andy came upstairs and just went, we got it. We're going to put hot tub on it. That never came true. But
well, you and Andy Sneap came into the Accept picture at the same time, and you're still together. I mean, yes, he's produced every album that you've sang on with Accept. So that was I love the way I worked with Andy. He's a great producer, and he's a great producer for a vocalist, I think, because he's got a really good feel and really good input on things that,
he likes to get a little too many takes. You can ask Rob Halford about that too. He's like, God, how many times do I have to bloody fucking sing this? You know?
Yeah.
Just Nick, you got a better one in you, mate. It's like, oh God.
Yeah.
One more time.
Well, it's paid off. And, you know, I when I heard Blood of the Nations, I thought, wow, they found a guy that can actually do it. Because, yeah, obviously Udo's got a very distinctive voice, and people, I think, were worried about who's going to take his place. And then right off the bat, you come in with your first record, and I thought it immediately bridged the gap from, okay, Udo's gone, Mark is in, let's keep going, you know?
I like how Dave is not mentioning the guy in between Udo and you.
Well, yeah, okay.
Well, he was actually not between me and Udo. Udo was back after that. So.
Oh, he was. Right. Udo came back. I didn't even know Udo came back. I thought they were done, and then. Yeah.
Well, so here's my point, I guess. We are talking about David Reese, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I think the point I was trying to make is David probably came in and did a fine job, but I think it's not until Mark came in that we recaptured the classic Accept sound that people thought would not be duplicated again.
Amen.
Yeah. And that's power, what I was trying to say.
The power of Accept was finally becoming embellished in the right way.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in David Reese's defense, they were trying to shift gears. They were looking to become a more commercial band at that point because they couldn't get on the radio over here with Udo.
You know, and I'm okay with trying something new. I feel like having an open mind is good. I just don't think. Well, they didn't have Andy Sneap going no, and make them rethink what it was. And it was the beginning of a very weird time for music, for heavy metal, for hard rock. When you think about late 80s and early 90s, it's kind of a weird moment.
Once grunge came in, it was, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
we were all, well, let's see, I'm glad I didn't quit my day job.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I meant no disrespect to David Reese. He's a great singer.
I know that.
The point I was trying to make was when Mark came back into the band, all of a sudden Accept was back the way we remembered Accept. And I didn't think anyone ever thought we would get Accept back the way we remembered Accept.
It just sounded kind of funny the way you were saying it. I was enjoying it more than you guys were.
Sorry, David. I didn't mean to hit fast forward on you. And so another thing, Mark, that was different was you became the chief lyricist, which was that's also a different change in the mix because Gabby, as we've mentioned, Wolf's wife and manager, was responsible for writing a lot of the lyrics. So when you come in as a lyricist, is that something you offered and put on the table, or was that something Wolf was kind of hoping you would kind of bring to the table so Gabby could take a break?
Gabby was kind of hoping I was going to take over.
Yeah.
Listen, they had to convince her to manage the band again. She didn't want any part of it.
Right.
She wanted to be retired. She was, you know, so for her to take that on, especially to you know, rebuild basically from scratch, you know, she wasn't going to have time to write lyrics. Let's put it that way.
Right.
She did, you know, she still to this day comes up with some really good ideas and throws them at me. And it's, you she's a well of information, tell you that. But
so
that English is my first language kind of made sense,
Yeah. But so I'm curious to know how much, that's just, to me, that sounds like even more added pressure to you because you got to come in and prove yourself as the singer for this band. And also now you've got to have lyrics that stand up to the test of Wolf and Gabby and the rest of the band and Andy Sneap, apparently, But
I always, I prefer to sing my own lyrics anyway. But
right.
Did Andy have anything to say about any of your lyrics? Do you recall any changes you had to make?
Yeah, well, everybody does. It's not. I'm not just writing and this is the way it's going to be. Right. We've all had input, always. So,
right.
Especially Andy's really good at coming up with a different phrase or a different phrasing or a different word for a certain word. He's really he's really a smart dude.
When you were tracking, was it kind of like you would sing something and he would go, "Hey, what are you saying there? Hey, let's try this instead."
Yeah,
like literally, with the red light on.
He's always got a printout of what I'm singing anyway, but you know, he constantly, let's try it like this and see what it sounds like, and we'll keep it all. And then go, you know, he'll go back and comp what he wants. So.
Sure. Wow.
Well, so then, Blood of the Nations, I think, was a huge success, considering the fact that the band was kind of in a state of disarray, let's put it that way. So you come into the picture, new singer, new lyricist. Gabby is taking over. You talked her into managing the band again after she wanted to retire. So you got a lot of pieces falling into place, and I think you guys would have had to breathe a huge sigh of relief after you got all the positive reviews and the fans embraced you, especially. That was a huge triumph for you guys.
It was, because I tell you what, when they first announced that I was going to be the singer in the band, it was not going well online. There was not a lot of happy people out there, man. I was getting hate mail. Holy crap!
Wow.
Geez.
Yeah, they're giving you a review before they've even heard you fucking sing. They just see your name and go, "What the fuck? No way!"
Exactly. Yeah.
When was it that you feel like that changed? Was it after the record came out, or was it after you'd played a few shows in Germany, or was it because I feel like Germany sort of changed their mind. The haters, the doubters, when they finally heard the record and they couldn't wait to hear this live. Tell us a little bit about when you started rehearsing for the tour. You're just playing this as well as a slew of old shit, because you gotta. Yeah.
Well, when we actually did that preliminary tour before the album came out.
Right. Okay.
So the only thing that had been released at that point was The Abyss. That was the first single. So that's the only thing anyone had heard. And that was going really well. Eddie Trunk was the one who premiered it here.
Cool.
In this country. I don't know who did it overseas, but it went really well. Plus we did that metal show, and and we had just filmed the Teutonic Terror video, but that wasn't out yet. Neither was the song. So a few days later, we embarked on what we called the preliminary BOTN tour, which started in New York. The first show was at the Gramercy. So it was a sold out show. I pretty much knew everybody in the audience, so that went real well for me.
All three Joey DeMeos were there?
Yes, I think so. But 3 ain't bad. But I mean, that was a great show, and I had no idea what to expect after that, because 3 days after that we were in Lithuania, and I'm going, well,
right.
I'm seeing myself as like Spanky with the garbage can lid, walking out, going, "Friends, Romans, and countrymen." The tomatoes coming in. So, but it was never like that. It was never like that. And we did a few festivals on that run. We did was that the open airs with AC/DC, I think, on that run.
Wow.
Oh, crap. We did some crazy stuff, and it was amazing. And I've never had any derogatory, feelings from the audience.
Yeah.
Still, you're always going to get the one guy on the comments that's going to go, no, so okay,
right.
Back to your vault, go on.
Well, I feel
apparently, or somebody will go, "Where's Udo?" Well, where have you been?
Right. Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
Some people still think Skid Row has Sebastian Bach, so it's the same bullshit. It's
that's why I opened the segment with stating that Mark has been in the band almost 15 years now, 5 studio albums, 5. So if you've been sleeping on this, you need to catch up.
And you guys are writing right now, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm going to be going down to Wolf's probably in a few weeks. So,
wow,
amazing! It's fucking.
You just
amazing.
got home from Europe, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, we just got home from South America.
South America, right? Yeah.
Got back in the end of February last year.
Some of your boys got sick, huh?
We all got sick in South America.
You caught it too, huh?
My constitution is a little, I mean, nowhere's near sick like I got in October when you came in.
Oh,
So,
shit.
not that kind of sick anyway.
This was a different kind of sick, wasn't it?
Kind of sick. This started with your stomach and then worked its way up. But like Phil got it really bad. I mean, he was passing out and they had to take him off a plane. It was like, wow. And then the guitar tech, same way. So we actually played a show with no crew because Christopher got it when we were in Chile. Christopher got it too. Phil was still in Peru and guitar tech could not leave his room. So the drum tech played the show.
Wow.
Drum tech played the show and we had no crew.
Wow.
The guitars, no nothing. It's like,
man,
pulled it off and the crowd loved it. It was amazing.
that's amazing.
Hey, you guys have been
beat up, man.
Anybody else in their right mind would have canceled this show. Like, nah, we can do this. Come on. We got
Well,
this.
you guys have turned into like this hero kind of you cannot too mean to die, like literally fucking too mean to die. You guys, I mean, with a little help from your friends sometimes, the drum tech and Ed Aborn ends up finding me and whatever it is.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I could not believe that you were filled in for John Bush right after that. It's like, oh my God. I'm going, you got to be kidding me. You got a new career, bro.
Yeah. If this podcast doesn't work out,
I feel like I'm the guy with the broom, you know?
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh,
So
so Mark,
Mark,
Jason, who clean it up a little bit.
tell us about that, Mark. So you're out on the road, you get sick, and Jason comes and steps in for a few shows. How were you even aware? How aware were you of Jason McMaster before his name came into the conversation?
I probably haven't heard his name since Dangerous Toys,
Yeah.
Okay. Since since the late 80s or early 90s, because that's when that
But us, these old war horses never die, man. We just keep going. So
Right.
I was not surprised. But I was very grateful, obviously. Still am. I'm glad everything we only missed one show out of that whole thing. So
that was the Toronto. No.
Oh, the one in South Jersey.
Yeah, the one you had to let go. Right. The Toronto was without you, where Chris and Martin sang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did a show where the band members handled lead vocals. Then you missed it. Then you had to cancel the show, and then Jason shows up. Is that right?
I was extremely sick when we were in Toronto. I mean, it wasn't even funny. I had it. I sang 3 nights in a row already, being sick, and the throat just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and I'm bronchitis, and I can't breathe. It turned out I had RSV, whatever the hell that is, respiratory something virus that affects. It's mostly a children's virus.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not good for the elderly. So, it knocked the shit out of me. Plus, it destroyed my vocal cords from coughing.
Well,
and when we got to Toronto that morning, just really quick, when we got to Toronto that morning on the bus, I was laying in my bunk and trying to, just trying not to cough and going, but I know I got to cough and there's a shit ton of stuff that's going to come up. And I'm going, all right, I got to cough. So I went to take a breath to cough and nothing went in. And I went, whoa, what the hell is that about? Mm-hmm. As I jumped out of the bunk and stood up. And before I freaked out, I went, wait a minute, dude, if you couldn't breathe, you'd be dead. Oh yeah, I would have died in my sleep, wouldn't I? Yeah, okay. So you can't breathe. Just go easy, breathe through your nose. And it went, but slowly, but I was fine. And I walked up to the front of the bus just then, and I looked at them all and I went, I am not singing tonight. And they were like, oh yeah, you said it. No, I need a fucking doctor and I'm not singing tonight.
Wow.
And we went, but they went and set up the gear anyway, thinking I was going to pull through. And the doctor came to my hotel room. He was like, "You're not going anywhere."
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Shot me up with steroids. And he says, "The reason you couldn't draw a breath on the bus was because your vocal cords were so swollen, they're cutting off your windpipe." They're ridiculous.
Wow.
Okay.
So John Bush, fucking identical. Same shit.
Thing, right?
Maybe not the swelling as bad, but he knew that he wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah.
And Joey Vera calls me. That's exactly how that happened.
Yep.
And Mark, I had just seen those guys with Wasp and Michael Schenker in San Antonio,
right?
9 days prior, and they fucking destroyed it.
I was killing it up till then.
Of course you were.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Well, you know, and we've talked about this on the show before, of course, many times, about how it seemed at the time, you know, October, November last year, bands were getting up to the Eastern Seaboard, and the singers were being crushed by this virus. And I wasn't I wasn't worried that I was going to get it, but I should have. I mean,
Should have been worried.
yeah, because dude, everyone on that bus was coughing, snot flying everywhere. I was like, "Oh, I'm walking in." You know, did you know that I walked into I got off the plane and I was just getting over some kind of bullshit? I don't even know if you knew that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was an honor to
At the shows we did together, I thought were fun.
I was just going to say, so Mark starts to get a little better while Jason is still on the Accept bus.
I did the one day at Penns Peak in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
And he was going to do the show. You were going to do the shows in New York with the promoter. And the promoter called the management and said, "Hey, if Tornillo doesn't show up, I'm canceling the next 3 shows," because he had the 2 in New York and the 1 in New Jersey. He says, "I'm going to cancel the shows," because I think he just, was looking for a way out at that point, but I don't care. So I said, "The fuck you are? You're going to put everybody out of work?" No, I'm not. I'm getting.
Yeah, that's talk about unfair.
I drove to freaking Patchogue or wherever the hell we were.
Yeah.
So you,
I can't pronounce that town either.
Yeah.
Pachuoga or something.
Yeah.
So there was some, a promoter that was going to basically pull the plug on the shows if Mark doesn't show up. So Mark shows up, but the deal is, does the promoter know that you and Jason are going to tag team this show, or is he just satisfied that you're going to show up?
I guess
no, I don't.
I had to put out a statement that I was going to be at those shows.
Right.
So I was there. So
yeah. And you know what? I argued that the people that were in attendance at that show got something really special, because that probably will never happen again. God willing. We don't want anyone else to get sick.
The one we did in New Jersey, I thought was killer. That last one that you did, because so many of the old TT Quick fans were there and shit, man. They had a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that we complimented each other really well. And I got to say, Dave, I got to tell Dave this with you in the room. Mark is a class act. I landed in fucking Pennsylvania, and Wolf and Uva came to my room. I said, "You got your phone? Call Mark right now. Do you remember me making Wolf call you?" He handed me the phone, and I talked to you. I said, "This is your house. This is your gig. Please know that it's an honor to be here." Blah, 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 blah. You came back with the same open arms the next day to save the band, the crew, and the promoter's temperament. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like I don't know if it was Wolf and Uwe that, because they were speaking German the whole fucking time. And if they were like plotting the next move, because it was kind of a day by day play out.
Yeah. Nobody knew what the hell was going to happen.
So you coming and putting out the statement like, I'm back. And it's like, but, and you saying, it was like, to me, just as much it was to anybody else. It's like, I'm not 100%. We're going to go tag team. I'm going to do some. I'm going to pull you out. We'll do one. Then you do a couple. Rah. And it was like this, okay.
Yeah, it works.
Fucking slamming.
Yeah.
It was a metal army.
It was. I thought it was fun, man.
Fucking 7 motherfuckers on stage.
Yes, sir.
A bunch of rednecks and some fucking Jersey dude and some Germans.
Well, you guys pulled it off, and I think that those that were in attendance got treated to something that we'll probably never see again, and you pulled it off. So hats off to you guys.
Dave, what you got?
I was going to ask Mark. You mentioned, and I still want to get to TT Quick, and we will, but. Prior to joining Accept, you had sung a bunch of their songs in your various bands or whatever. Prior to joining Accept, what was your favorite Accept album?
Wow.
I think I know which one.
Gotta be Restless.
Yeah.
Right
yeah. Okay, then this makes a great follow-up question.
But Breaker was my first one, and there's a lot of great stuff on there too.
Fuck
yeah. So speaking of Restless, I know this, Fast as a Shark is one of those songs that we all remember the first time we heard it because it was such a game changer. It blew
our
mind.
Exactly where I was when I heard it.
So tell me about your impression the first time you heard Fast as a Shark.
We were playing at Lemoore, and the DJ in between bands comes up and goes, "Well, I've got the brand new Accept album, and here's the first song I'm going to play for it." And he starts playing the high D, high do. And we're looking at each other going, what in the actual fuck is that? High D, high do, high do. It was like, what the hell just happened? And the place went nuts. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that, Kaufman played double bass through the entire song, we were like, well, that's new. That's something new. Holy crap. Yeah. It was amazing.
I call that the scream heard around the world.
Yeah, man.
Well, that kind of changed the record. The song itself was a fucking game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So were the vocals.
Yeah, but the song itself was a game changer. I feel like that Accept had finally started to gain a little bit of a footprint, and not just in the underground with Restless. Because when you think about the song Breaker, it's kind of the same feel as Shark.
Shark, but not quite as catchy.
Correct. But I mean, when they go to the bridge or whatever, I mean, Breaker's dooga-dagga, 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 it has that same color. But like I said, Restless has that look out. This is some catchy shit on here.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. I see what you did.
Yeah.
So
there's not a bad song on that record. I mean,
there's not.
Yeah.
No, there's not. Hey, when over half the record, sometimes, riff orgy with the medley and everything, over half the record is in the fucking set.
Yeah.
To this day.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It says a lot.
I want to, so Dave, I got to go into the inner sanctum and I got to hang with Mark a whole bunch, and
you survived.
I cherish the time. I cherish the times. The bus broke down. We sat and chatted in a fucking van, so old school, right? The whole band's in a van.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about the bus breaking down.
Remember that shit?
Our bus driver, Otis, he's a good old boy. He's like, I gotta go fix that goddamn generator again.
Yep. Well, it was a trip for me anyway, and Dave knows these stories already. With Wolf Hoffman, one of your childhood, teenage, heavy metal gods posters on the wall and shit, is driving the van like he's the mom. He's metal mom. And everybody's cutting up in the back. And I'm just like, this is not real. Wolf Hoffman is driving through the state of New Jersey with his band in the back. I was like, this is fucking crazy. And I got fucking Mark T.T. Quick right next to me. We started talking about this, the book, Jersey Metal.
Oh, I'm glad you have that. I left mine in the other room because I was going to mention that. Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yes.
And I was like, well, he's going to be all over that because this wasn't out yet. I don't think it was just about to drop, this Jersey Metal book, this is volume 1, 69 to 86.
Yes.
So it's no surprise that you're all over this. This sounds nerdy, but I was listening to TT Quick like all day today.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. You sound fucking great on that shit, man.
Good stuff, man. I think it holds up.
Tell us about, there's some really cool mementos. I mean, I could go through the whole book and go, there's Mark, TT Quick, flyer. Do you remember this gig? Do you remember that gig? I want to just kind of go into your mental photo album for a minute. Do you remember a gig at, I guess it was around Christmas time. It was at the Sports 9 Skateway opening for Metallica.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This is TT Quick opening for Metallica.
TT Quick opening for Metallica. Had to have been 83 maybe?
Yeah.
This is a
83 because our EP came out 84.
Yeah, so check it out. It says Metallica featuring their new material, and then under dude, hey Dave, just so you know, the TT Quick logo with the fist and everything, the lightning bolts and shit, it's bigger than Metallica's logo. On the poster, it's bigger than Metallica's logo. And it says
Quick made the posters.
Says TT Quick. Right.
Isn't that how it works?
No, I think Johnny Z probably made these posters. It says TT Quick previewing.
He was promoting the shows. So
yeah, previewing their all new original show.
Okay.
Does that mean you guys were just starting to have enough original material to not play covers and shit? Yeah. Okay. What do you remember about that gig?
Be perfectly honest with you, not a whole lot.
Many moons ago.
Okay.
Yeah. They at that Metallica was just another band to us at that point. So
okay. Well, they were in your town.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were
visiting
label mates, right?
Yeah.
You're on Megaforce.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on your label mates at the time with Metallica, Anthrax, Overkill.
David.
Yeah, you're mixed in there with some heavy hitters.
Yeah, basically my record collection. Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, why are you laughing at that, man?
No,
it's like I had all
my record collection.
No, it's Dave's record.
Yeah.
Hey, me and Dave are not alone. It was the fucking anyone I knew I considered cool. That was their fucking record collection too.
Well, see, the thing I love about the book, and we should give props to Frank White and Alan Tecchio who put that book together.
Fuck yeah, man.
What I loved about the book
there's the dudes right there.
There they are. What I loved about that book is someone who I consider myself to be pretty well read when it comes to the metal, history and all that sort of thing. But I never really stopped and thought about the Jersey metal scene. And then this book puts it all together. I was aware of the Overkills, and I'm aware of the Glenn Danzig and the Misfits and stuff
Nuclear
like
Assault.
that. But yeah, so this book kind of brought it all together. And then as I'm flipping through the book, I'm seeing things like Mark and TT Quick, and I'm getting all these reminders. So for people maybe like myself who only thought of the metal scenes in Texas and LA and New York, what was it like back in those days for you when TT Quick was coming up and bands like Metallica and Anthrax were just another band? What was it like for you guys in that scene?
It was huge, man. I mean, you got to figure it wasn't just New Jersey; it was the tri-state area.
Yeah,
and more than the tri-state area, because we would play, Connecticut, upstate New York, Pennsylvania,
Virginia,
and go down as far as Hammer Jackson,
Baltimore. Yeah,
and there was always somewhere to play. I mean, we used to play 6 nights a week, sometimes 2 shows. You do a matinee. It was like we could have worked 7 nights a week if we wanted to. So I mean, and we were making decent dough.
Yeah.
We were carrying our own production.
Fuck yeah. Well, it sounds to me like, and I'm not comparing
lights and PA system.
Fuck yeah. I'm not comparing, and I'm not saying it's a mirrored thing, but similar to in many, many ways, and probably the same club one night after the other, or even together. You're saying words that we've heard from Eddie and JJ from Twisted Sister.
Yes.
Well, we played together.
Yeah, but blowing up in the same venues, like around the same time.
Yeah. I think what I liked about the book is the fact that even though I may have been aware of bits and pieces of that scene, I never saw it really put together and compiled so well. Right. So that I got this sense of, wow, that really was a big scene to reckon with, when you think of all the bands that came out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel like sorry if I'm interrupting either of you guys, but I feel like Lars found out about what was happening in New Jersey and started fucking calling Johnny Z. So, hey, you got this record store, you got this swap meet, you got all these clubs, and you got all these, hey, can I send you some shit? Hey, can we come play? Hey, can we record? And like, I know it. I know that's what happened without even asking a question.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it was very a scene to be reckoned with for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And so TT Quick, here's the journalist in me wants to know, what is the origins of the name TT Quick, and is it spelled with periods or without periods on the TT?
There's no periods.
No periods. Okay.
And it was just we needed a name. We were changing the name of the band. We had gotten a new drummer, and we were going to a new start. We're going to start playing pretty much all metal. And we needed a new name, and somebody said, "Well, let's just throw something together quick for now, and then we'll come up with a better one." Throw it together quick. Okay, TT Quick.
Ah, interesting.
I like it.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Wow, that's cool.
Thrown together quick. That's great.
So was Glenn Evans your new drummer at the time?
No.
This
is before him. We were still playing mostly covers.
So that was interesting too. That Glenn Evans, that
happened in '79, we did that. We changed the name to TT Quick.
Okay, wow.
Glenn didn't join the band till actually Glenn was in the band twice. He joined the band, and then
played
left
on the EP,
and then came back when we did the EP.
Yeah, he played on the EP.
Yeah, he did.
Glenn, of course, went on to play in Nuclear Assault. One guy that I didn't know was in TT Quick for a minute was AJ Pero.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tell us about that time.
I didn't know that.
That was after Medal of Honor. And, man, there was some weird stuff going on. We'd lost our deal with Island. And Eric, at the time, his father was dying of cancer. And he just said, "Look, I got to go home to New Orleans. I can't do this."
So
now.
Eric was the bass player. Drummer.
Eric,
okay.
Eric was a drummer. Who is actually very sick right now too.
Oh no.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that at the moment, but.
Well, we're thinking about him, Eric. We're thinking about you right now.
Yeah.
This is being recorded, but that doesn't matter.
But so he went home to New Orleans to be with his family. And so now we got no deal. We got no drummer. And it's like, well, what the hell are we going to do? And Twisted had just gone through the whole come out and play debacle.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
AJ was out of the band. And I think I ran into him at a club one night. And it was like, dude, we need a drummer. Why don't you come play with us for a while? And he's like, yeah, really? Like, yeah. I mean, I'd known him since before he was in Twisted. You know, he was in a band called Cities that played at New York.
I think I have one of the Cities records.
Yeah. He's an amazing drummer, man.
Yeah.
So,
he's holding back. He's holding back in Twisted Sister, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He didn't hold back with us.
Good.
So he came and joined us, and that's when we wrote we were writing the stuff for Sloppy Seconds at that point. And we played a lot of gigs. But then Eric wound up coming back, and he wound up going back with Twisted. So
yeah.
it was a fun period. I actually got a cool picture of that band here somewhere.
Yeah, AJ is kind of one of my sentimental favorites when it comes to drummers, because I never thought he was properly recognized for his talent, and I always thought he was an amazing drummer and
a great human being, man. He was just such a nice guy.
Yeah. I never had the pleasure of knowing him as a human, but I always thought he was an underrated drummer.
Yeah, I got a photo with him and hung out with Twisted in '83 when they were on that Can't Stop Rock and Roll tour.
Mm-hmm. So
it would have been before you had AJ and
that was like 87, 88, I'm going to say.
Yeah. So I wanted to hold this picture up, not to embarrass you, but to just for a second.
Look at that young man.
Budweiser suspenders.
Yeah, good looking guy there.
I need some of those.
Yep. Well, the thing is I had Harley Davidson suspenders.
Yeah.
Same era. I've got pictures where, very similar. And it was just, hey, I don't mean this in a good or a bad way. The trends that singers follow, just like, well, fuck, man, I'm a rock singer. What the fuck am I going to wear? I still can't go up in my work clothes.
I've been making behind a guitar like everybody else. So.
Yeah, I'm making pizza all day, flipping burgers all day. I got a gig tonight. What the fuck? I can't wear this shit. So you just make it up. And it's very interesting how the common denominators are similar. Suspenders, tight pants, give me a couple beers, I'll be fine.
There you have it, folks.
Yeah. Speaking of, I've seen countless pictures of Mark, performing and photographed with no shirt on, and you're in pretty good shape, man. So what do you do? What do you do to stay fit?
Drink beer.
I need to try that diet
instead of eat.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Just stay fit. Try to work. I do work out at the, go to the gym and do what I got to do. But my key to everything is everybody always asks me, how the hell do you stay thin after all this time? And dude, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everybody else. When your pants get tight, don't buy new pants. Stop eating.
Yeah.
Fit again.
That's a good plan.
That is a good plan.
If your pants getting too tight, well, your body's trying to tell you something. Take the feedback off. Take off the feed bag for a while. Don't buy some pants because you're going to fill them out too.
Yeah.
And then you're totally fucked.
I like this.
It's hard to go back.
You get skinny.
That's my weight loss plan right there.
You get skinny and you save money on clothes. It's a win-win. Well, Mark should be doing like
self-help video.
Yeah, what are those infomercials after midnight?
Right. That's a good one.
Mark Tornillo's fitness plan.
I also feel like
am I saying your last name right, by the way? How do you pronounce it?
Tornillo.
Tornillo. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So we go to South America, then it's Tornillo.
Well, that's why I asked, because I'm in Texas, and in Spanish it would probably be Tornillo, but Tornillo it is.
I have my own aisle at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like on that note, on your fitness and staying thin thing, most people overeat.
They do.
Large portions.
It's very funny you should say that, because my wife and I were just celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we just came home from Jamaica last night.
Oh man, what a letdown! You come back from Jamaica,
really.
now you're talking to us.
We were there for 10 days at the resort, and all I'm going to say is you could spot the Americans right away, because they're all all overweight, every last one of them.
Yeah,
it's scary.
It is.
Yeah, we are the land of plenty, and sometimes not always for the better.
No.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you also, I'm sure at this point in your career, you've crossed paths with Udo. Is that safe to assume?
Yeah, we've never really had a, decent conversation, but we have crossed paths.
Okay. I was just going to ask if you've had any conversations, because I feel like I've read in the press where he's been pretty complimentary towards you. It doesn't seem like a lot of smack talking and that sort of thing. Like, yeah, it sounds like you've got his respect.
Well, I've never read anything really good, but I mean, I've got nothing bad to say about him. Obviously, I was a fan. I still am.
Fuck yeah.
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 So I hope, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I think the longest conversation I ever had with Udo was when we opened up for Accept, and at Lemoore. It had to be 80, I'm going to say 86. It was balls, because they were on tour with Kiss.
Okay.
They played Radio City with Kiss that night, and then came over and headlined Lemoore.
All right.
And at the end of the night, went down to their dressing room. Him and the crew. He was the only one down there from the band. I just wanted to meet the guys, Went down there, and he was the only one. And we were having his English was not good at all. And we were just starting to talk and make a little sense. And Gabby comes down the stairs, right? Gabby. And she looks at him. She goes, "Udo, on the bus, schnell." And he goes, "I must go." He just got up and walked up the stairs.
Wow.
So it wasn't a long conversation, but it was memorable.
Oh yeah, it was memorable.
Was that your first meeting with Gabby?
Yes, we didn't meet. We just were in the same.
But you were a passerby to her.
Yes.
I mean, she didn't say, "Hey, get out of the way. Why are you talking to Udo?" It was just Udo on the bus, schnell.
No, she really didn't even enter the room. It was just,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
on the bottom of the stairs. Now.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Like the hook coming out from the side of the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, she's still a force to be reckoned with, but
That's what I hear.
yeah.
So what got you hooked on rock and roll, Mark? What was the moment? What was the album? What was the concert? What was the band you saw on television?
Case closed. The Beatles, man.
Yeah.
I was a kid. My brother was 9 years older than me. He came home one day and he had the single with "I Want to Hold Your Hand," and the flip side was "Saw Her Standing There."
Mm.
Put that on a 45, put it on, and I was in like second grade. I lost my mind.
Wow.
It was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What the hell is it? I don't even know how to act now.
Yeah, that's the beauty.
I just remember going to the record store every time there was a new album, going to buy the singles, going to buy the records, And then I got into obviously many other things, but that was the beginning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I remember one of the stories that you and I were chatting and you told me about. I think it was Lemoore, correct? Feel free to correct me. I'm fully okay with being wrong.
Things happened at Lemoore, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to play there with the toys a few times. It was fucking great. Great time. Both of them. When there was two different ones. So
yeah, Lemoore East.
Yep.
So, actually, there was Korea for a while. There was,
oh, really?
Lemoore East was in Queen, and then there was Far East in Long Island.
Wow.
No, I don't think that one ever really did that well.
Legendary and part of the whole scene. So we were hanging, and you told me a story about Iron Maiden had done a show.
Oh yeah,
and they came by.
They were playing the next night.
Oh, they were playing the next night, so they had a night off, but they were there.
Night off, and they
came to the club.
Yep.
You tell the story. Tell us how that transpired. TT Quick was playing, right?
TT Quick, okay.
Yeah, TT Quick was playing.
Set it up. It was TT Quick, but we had a steady Thursday night at Lemoore. We played it, every Thursday night. We were the headliner, and I mean, you're doing 600-700 people on a Thursday night. Not too shabby. It was respectable.
Right.
So we pretty regular. There was Glenn Evans was in the band at that point. We were just at the EP hadn't come out yet. It had to be 83, I'm going to say. And one of the owners, Mike, comes back into the dressing room, and he goes, "Hey, the guys from Iron Maiden are here. They want to know if it's okay if they hang out in the dressing room." And we're like, "What?" Like we're going to say no, right? So I was like, "Yeah, of course. Tell them to come on back." And of course we had a party going on back there. It was 1983. What do you expect? Yeah. And so they all come back, hung out, and we asked them, "You guys want to play?" "No, we don't want to play." There was the opening act was on. I don't remember who it was. So change over. They're still hanging in the dressing room. We're getting ready to go on, and we go on, and we're playing. We must have played about 5 or 6 songs. And my guitar tech goes, "Hey, come here. I'm like, "What?" "They want to come up and play." "Well, tell them to come on up and play." Fine with that. It's great. Just like, so I'll tell them after the next song. Okay. We did the next song, and they're starting to walk up. We're starting to walk off. I'm going to introduce the band, and the crowd knew they were there. And the swell in the crowd just went like from ah to oh, like, you couldn't miss Dave Murray walking out of stage. They were like, "Oh my God," and Steve Harris. And so I'm introducing the band, and I'm getting ready to introduce the band. And actually, I'm trying to remember how it went. I have a cassette recording of this. My sound man, brilliant that he was, had the foresight to push the record button on a cassette. Wow. I think I walked off before I introduced him, because I figured they didn't need any introduction. And as I'm walking off, Steve Harris just grabbed me by the shoulder and he goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I'm going to." He goes, "Bruce isn't here, mate. You're singing." I went, "What?" He goes, well, I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "What are we doing?" I go, "Oh, how about Rothschild?" "Oh, Rothschild." I'm going, I lost my shit, man.
Oh man.
I didn't sleep for 3 days. The adrenaline flow was just like, oh.
Wow, that's awesome.
The crowd just lost their freaking minds. And then we had to finish the show. It's like, oh my God, how do we top that now?
Yeah. Good question, Jason. I had no idea.
Yeah, he told me that story, and I was like, one day we're going to have him on the podcast. I'm going to make him fucking tell that story.
Yes.
I have to find that cassette, and I have to take it and, run it onto a hard drive.
Yeah, get it digitized. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So now, and I think Dave knows this already, that right there, if you could put it in a bottle, that's how I felt having to go be with Accept for a week. It's like, what? Oh my God. I don't think I slept for a week when I got home, So,
that's an amazing story, because at that time, if it's 1983, they're on the Peace of Mind tour, so they are like at the peak of their powers, or
people 82 or 83.
Yeah, 82 would have been Number of the Beast. So either way,
I think it was Number of the Beast. I think they were touring with Priest.
Wow.
I think they were touring. They were opening for Priest.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, you got them at a great time then if you were singing for Iron Maiden in 82 or 83.
How many songs did you do with them?
Yeah, good question.
Nico had just joined the band. So
you had just joined which band?
Nico had just joined Maiden.
Oh, Nico.
Right,
so this is Peace of Mind then.
That's Peace of Mind.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
How many tunes did you jam with them?
Just the one.
Oh, okay.
Child.
We just did Rothschild. That's all they wanted to do. I think we played Number of the Beast after that.
That's a good segue.
Wow.
If memory serves me correctly.
Man.
We all want to hear another Iron Maiden song.
Without Iron Maiden.
We can play Iron Maiden with Iron Maiden in the room.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. That's a great story. I love that.
Do you have any Uncle Mark? You got any more awesome stories like that?
Yes, please.
Probably none that I can tell. But...
Ouch.
Now we really want to know.
Oh my goodness. Wow. We played with so many damn people especially at Lemoore and even at the Birchill, man. When we used to, there was national acts coming through every week, So played and jammed with so many freaking people. It's hard to remember them all.
So Eddie Trunk and Don Jameson and Jim Florentine have a new sort of YouTube podcast thing called That Rocks. And their first 2 episodes have had
That Rock Show or something.
Yeah,
right?
That Rocks. They've had Charlie Benanti and then they've had David Coverdale.
Nice.
And I want to say it was the one with David. Shit, it might have been both episodes because, of course, I watched them, checked them out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of love, man, for TT Quick because they'll do their metal 6-pack where they got a favorite record who was released, your favorite record from 80, your favorite record from 81 or 82 or just 80s in general. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them had TT Quick in there, bro.
Nice.
Man.
Yeah, they're good friends.
They're local boys, right? So they all came from the same area. So they probably grew up. They were at Lemoore when TT Quick was playing. We were probably in the audience when Mark sang for Iron Maiden.
Yeah, maybe. We did Eddie Trunk's show when he was still a kid. He had a metal show on WDHA out in New Jersey, and Johnny Z took us up there when it had to be 84 when the EP came out. And that's when we met him and went up and did his show. And then he wound up moving his show to K-Rock at that point, and then over to Q104. So he just kept climbing the ladder.
He's a college kid,
and
right?
He became R&R guy at Megaforce.
Right.
I was going to ask if he had anything to do with you at Megaforce. So.
Yeah, he was R&R guy at Megaforce.
Wow.
Don Jameson, I've known Don when he used to go to Rutgers, and he had a metal show on Rutgers radio, and David and I would go in and do his show and laugh like hysterically for hours. After a gig, we'd go up there and have a few beers and just get stupid. So
cool.
I love it.
It's really cool. Mark, we don't want to take up too much more of your time.
I wanted to ask real quick if you could tell us about that banner behind you. It's sort of a cartoon caricature of
this was something we just picked this up, and let's see if I can get you a good shot of it.
For people that are listening and not watching, it's a banner of Accept, and it's cartoon. It almost looks like South Park characters.
It is South Park. If you can see it.
Okay.
Bang.
Yeah, so it's Accept as South Park characters. Who did that for you?
Guy Elias Thrash is his name's on Instagram. So a lot of times he'll post pictures of us on Instagram, just doing different South Park things. And I think he was in Sao Paulo when we were there. It was either Curitiba or Sao Paulo. It was definitely Brazil. And he brought this into the dressing room and gave it to us.
Oh.
Wolf has so much stuff anymore. He's like, dude, you want to take it with you? I got to get rid of things. I don't even have a place to hang anything anymore. I'm like, yeah, I got a spot for that, man. I took a few things down.
Yeah. It looks great.
Feeling the love down there, man. It's amazing.
Dude, South America is the final frontier, man. Those people are just rabid for metal, man.
Yeah.
We did a show in Costa Rica and one in Honduras as well. So Central America, same thing. It's just insane. Absolutely nutty.
Yeah, always has been.
And then we all got sick, but it was funny because we were traveling with Gravedigger and Testament, and we all got sick. Everybody's got
brutal.
It's brutal.
Well, so Uwe was back in the day was in Gravedigger with some of his old buddies. He was there. Wow.
Yeah. So they haven't talked in years too. I think him and the singer finally kissed and made up under Stuart or whatever.
Wow, so, that's amazing. Buried the hatchet.
I don't know all the stories, but yeah, they got along well. We got along well with all. So
buried the shovel, I should say.
There you go.
Gravedigger buried the shovel. Yeah. Well, you know,
it's a good thing you're a singer and not a comedian.
Well, you got that shit right. But
so, Mark, real quick, Too Mean to Die, another great album from Accept with you on vocals. You mentioned at the top of the show that you're already writing a new album. Is there a timeline on that? And is Andy Sneap involved again?
As a matter of fact, he is. When we left South America, Wolf flew to Germany instead of back to Nashville. So he went over to Uwe's for a while because we've been bouncing things back and forth and, you know, ideas and riffs and hooks and songs. And so we're in that process of, you know, really getting deep into it now. So he went over to Uwe's, to his studio, and the two of them worked out some stuff. And he went from there to Andy's, and he spent some time at Andy's studio. So Andy's in the mix now. There's, from what I understand, there's somewhere close to 9 songs that are going to be, I'll be presented with now.
Yeah.
Start writing those lyrics.
Skeletons.
Well, we're already on that. I mean, I've been sending, you know, a lot of it starts that way, man. I'll send him lyrics and it just comes back as a song, like Zombie Apocalypse. That's exactly what happened there. Wow. I sent him lyrics and I got that back. It was like, whoa, that's badass. Not at all what I had in mind, but yeah.
But I'll take that, yeah.
So that's a good. Let's talk about that just a second. Every writer, all bands and writers in the band have their process. So you told Wolf a title, and he sent you a song based on the title, or you sent him all the lyrics?
I sent him all lyric ideas. I mean, I have to obviously wind up rephrasing things and reshaping the way, you know, certain things work. But basically, that was it, dead on. Same thing with The Undertaker. The Undertaker was actually a poem that I had written because Gabby and I were texting one day about something, and we had someone, I don't know, someone was sick or someone had passed or something, and we were talking about it, and she goes, well, The Undertaker's a busy man. And I went, I just said something back like, one of the lines in the song, sifts us all as grains of sand or something like that. And then she sent another line back, and I went, well, it's on now. That's it.
Yeah.
I put it down, got out the pad, and I wrote 3 stanzas and sent it back to her. And she was like, wow, that's amazing. I was like, okay, cool. Never thought of it being a song. And then when it came time around to the ideas for Too Mean to Die, I came across that and I went, well, let me send it, see what he thinks. I sent it to him. He was like, dude, this is so cool. Oh, God. And I had to change quite a few things, but that's exactly how it happened. So, you know, just like anything, sparks an idea in him. His riffs spark ideas in me. So, you know, it's a give and take. And you got to be open to, you know, well, that's going to have to change and this is going to have to change. And it's like, but it's always that way. You know, Jason, you know what's working with a producer, with your ideas. They have ideas, and it's like, well, wasn't what I was thinking, but okay, you got to at least have to be open to it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, it's still
which is hard.
Infancy, you know.
Yeah.
You get it. You have to be able to like, well, I really wanted it to have green eyes. Well, it's got black eyes and horns. What are you going to do, man?
Good way of putting it.
Yeah. Mark. Hey, Mark, it's been great to hang with you today. We appreciate you.
Hey, bro, what are you doing with yourself? You playing?
I am not a whole lot. I've got some shows coming up. I just did the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Oh, nice.
I'm fronting.
You're gonna do it next year, right?
I'm on next year with the Toys with Armored Saint and Accept.
That's it.
That's a little weird.
That's gonna be killer.
Don't get sick, Mark.
Little bit weird.
Sing with both bands, I'm sure.
It's pretty weird. But no, the cruise just happened. It was a couple weeks ago now, and I was fronting Dirty Looks. Do you remember that band, Dirty Looks?
Yeah. We played with them before back in the day.
Yeah, I'm fronting them now. I have been for a few years now, and it was killer.
What was the singer's name?
Henrik Ostergaard.
Henrik, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah,
he was fucking good, dude.
Not in the band anymore, huh?
He passed away about 11 years ago. Yeah. And then Paul, the guitar player. Well, shit, it's three guys. It's Paul and Gene, the drummer, and Jack, the bass player, who were on Cool from the Wire and Turn of the Screw. Yep. They're the OG. They're the guys that are still in the band. And then Henrik passed away, and they called me like 5 years ago to ask me to get involved, and I did, of course, because I'm a huge fan. But anyway, Henrik was a great singer, man. He was like a screamer.
Yeah, I remember him, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we appreciate you very much.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to add, Mark, that I think you've done a tremendous job with Accept. Not that you need my stamp of approval, but 5 records, batting 1,000. You guys are doing great together. And you, like I said, stepped into some impossible shoes and just knocked it out of the park. So congratulations, man.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you being on our show today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure. It didn't feel like work at all.
No, it's not work.
We try to keep it fun.
Before we let him go, I just want to let everybody know that it was an honor working with him, and then having you here today.
Having you out there with us, man. It was fucking great.
Fucking awesome. Thank you for saying that.
Anytime. My stage is your stage, bro. You know that.
You guys were so kind. I mean, you guys treated me like family, and I talk so highly of all of you guys all the time. But what I was going to say is, your voice is almost inhuman, because, as we say, we're all getting a little bit long in the tooth. Those of you who sing heavy metal, any kind of power metal or power singing, with it's loud and it's high and it's guttural and it's mean, and you know who your influences are. You haven't lost anything, my man. I was listening to that TT Quick shit today, and I'm going, fuck, he still can do that. It's like, if you had to put meters on a stick in years, how many years have you been singing like that? You won't embarrass yourself. I think it's a feather in your hat.
He's doing the math.
Well, since I quit smoking, that happened in 1980. Because I had a collapsed lung. I had walking pneumonia. We were playing. TT Quick was playing 6 nights a week, smoking 2 packs a day. Didn't sing like that, but really got really sick, and didn't want to cancel shows and put everybody out of work. So I just kept going and going and going, and finally wound up in the hospital with collapsed lung. Wow. Made me quit smoking, and when I got out of the hospital. Well, the doctor had told me, "Oh, and you don't sing anymore." And I went,
the hell I don't
know. What does he know?
Dude, I quit smoking, put at least an octave on my throat,
Oh, yeah.
And that was when we really started hitting it hard with AC/DC and Judas Priest and that kind of stuff. So that's how long. So that's what, 43 years?
Yeah. Going on 44.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man, that you can just come out there and be a fucking tank like you are, dude.
There's no such thing as tuning down and Accept.
So.
You can attest to that. It's 440A.
That's right. Bring it the fuck on. That's what I say.
Yeah. Like, all right. Well, I'm just gonna have to keep stretching it then.
That's right.
Have you heard anything about the Jersey Sound documentary that's coming out?
No, like a movie, a film?
Did you and I talk about that? We didn't.
I don't think so. That sounds amazing.
There's a guy. His name's Fulvio Ciceri. He's a Canadian. He did a wrestling doc called 100 or 200 something days. You ever seen that?
No.
It's on Amazon. I think it's 250 days.
Okay.
Because if you're an up and coming wrestler, that's how many days you wrestle out of the year. You know, it's like, it's insane.
That's
right?
Crazy.
So it was a really killer documentary. So he got the idea of doing a documentary just about New Jersey, about musicians in New Jersey. And it started out, it was just going to be the Jersey club scene, but he went back all the way to the 20s. And every genre, every type of music, and everybody who's ever come from New Jersey is in it. It was going to be just a full-length movie. Now it's going to be a limited documentary series on Amazon.
Whoa.
So, and we're all in it. Everybody's in it. But I mean, it's Sinatra, the Four Seasons, you name it, Misfits, right on up to, you know, to present day. Obviously, Springsteen and Bon Jovi.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
But Whiplash.
Everything in between. I mean, we've all networked and, guys, did you talk to this guy? No. Here, call him. You know, I'm like, hooking here. Here's Bobby Blitz's number. Here's Stevie Blitz's number. Here's, you know, come on.
Here's Joey DeMaio's number.
Yes,
all three of them.
All three of them.
I mean, I think I did the interview like 2 years ago. So, and it's finally out now. We're just getting contracts and, you know, for
release form. Yeah.
Yeah. Release forms for music, you know.
Oh, wow. Well, look for that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Jersey
Monster
Sound.
Magnet, Whiplash, everyone in there. I bet. Yep.
It should be fucking killer. I'm looking
Kick
forward.
ass. Fucking love it. I feel like I'm an honorary member of the Jersey metal scene because I've been writing records with Dan Lorenzo.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm friends with you call him Angus, remember?
Yeah, that's
Ed Jaworski.
Ed Jaworski.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in Dangerous Toys on our first tour. 11 months, he was my LD.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Small ass world. Yeah, man. Mark, thank you.
Yeah, Mark, thank you so much. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave Glessner with our special guest today, Mark Tornillo from Accept, the Talk Louder podcast.